Hey friends, in this video I get to show you how I make my very own coffee from my very own coffee plant. Once a year, usually around every November and December, the fruit on my coffee plant is ripe. It's a bright dark red color, almost like a maroon color or purple color. And when it is that color, which is like this color, the coffee is ripe and it's ready to be made into coffee. From there, I actually collect all the fruit every November or December. Then I go through a process which I'm going to show you in this video where I remove the seed or the coffee bean from the red fruit. I remove that by hand, and then I actually have to ferment the beans for a couple of days, and from then the coffee will be roasted, and then the coffee will be ground up, and then I get to make my very own coffee from it. It's quite a big process, and obviously the way I'm doing it is a very, very small quantity. I have one plant that I use every year for my own personal use. It's a lot of work to get just a few cups of coffee every year, but you'll see why, because the quality of the coffee is unbelievable. It is without a doubt the best coffee in the world, and I'm not just being biased because it's my plant, but I promise you it is amazing. So I'm going to show you the process from start to finish in this video. Just so you know, I'm filming this video in November and not all the fruit on my coffee plant is currently ripe, but I'm actually going to show you clips from 2 years ago when I first collected fruit from the plant for the first time, and the plant was in full bloom. It looked amazing. And then we'll come back to present time so that I can show you myself tasting the coffee. Enjoy. Here in Colombia, which is located on the equator line, with its mountainous terrain, high elevations and rich fertile soils, the world's best coffee is produced. And did you know Colombia is the second largest producer and exporter of coffee in the world, after Brazil? Most coffee in Colombia is harvested each November and December and exported around the world to the most famous coffee companies. Colombia produces many different flavors of coffee beans which come from many different regions of the country, from low to high acidity beans with sweet, fruity, chocolatey and nutty flavors. There are around 500,000 families in Colombia that grow coffee on their properties, and great care is taken in selecting the finest, ripest coffee fruit, which is then sent for production. A high level of detail and care from the farmers and manufacturers means that you receive the highest quality cup of coffee possible. If you'd like to learn more interesting facts about Colombian coffee, check out the information I provided in the description box below the video. Now, this coffee plant next to me actually has a story. I was given this plant as a gift in 2012 when I was visiting a region called Huila, and I was teaching English at that time, and I went to a school and I was doing some classes there, and I asked them where I could get some coffee because I noticed that that region had coffee plantations everywhere. And I wanted to buy one of these plants to take home with me. And then at the end of the day, when I finished my class, they actually presented me with one of these as a gift, this plant. And it was only about this high when I got it back in 2012. Then it's grown 1.5 meters. It's quite high, and it's now producing fruit 2 or 3 times a year, which is really good. So it's a very, very healthy plant. I'm not sure exactly what species of plant it is, but I don't know, I'm not an expert on coffee, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. It has a lot more sentimental value to me than anything else, so that's the story of this plant. Now, what I'm doing next is actually very, very simple. It's just removing the outer shell from the fruit on the inside. So all I have to do this is simply squeeze the beans, and as you can see, you end up with two tiny slimy little coffee beans, which are actually naturally green in color because they haven't been roasted yet. And today I'm actually just making a very small quantity. This is just literally 2 handfuls of coffee beans, enough to make maybe 1 or 2 cups of coffee. Really, really not very much at all. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the process. This is actually really, really simple, this part. What will happen next though is that I'll need to soak these green coffee beans into some water for about 2 to 3 days, and what that will do is the water will actually help remove all this slimy outer coating, because at the moment these green coffee beans are actually really, really sticky and slimy. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but yeah, we have to remove that slimy coating before the following step, which will be to roast them in the oven. So I'm just going to remove the skins from the rest of these beans, which will take me a few minutes, and I'll show you the end result very soon. Now, something really important I need to mention is that this is not the way that a large coffee making company would make their coffee. Obviously, they are making thousands of kilos of coffee every year. So for me, I'm just literally just making a couple of handfuls of coffee. So I just wanted to show you this faster version of the process that they use at the coffee producing companies. What they would actually do is dry these whole coffee beans out in the sun for 1 to 2 weeks and then remove the outer shell. But because I'm really wanting to make this cup of coffee as soon as possible, because I love homegrown coffee, I'm actually skipping a couple of the steps, and I'm speeding it up by removing the shell first and then oven roasting and drying them, which I know is not the way that it's done professionally. And yeah, if you're a professional coffee maker, don't get angry at me. This is just the fastest way I found on the internet, which taught me how to make a really fast cup of coffee from bean to cup. Oh, just one more thing that's really important. Subscribe. Back to the video. What I've learned about this process is that the large coffee producers will actually use a machine which will remove this skin from the coffee bean. So it speeds up the process a lot, and obviously because they're making huge quantities, there's no way they can do this by hand. So they would separate them by machine. I'm going to remove that one because it's a dark color, so it looks like it's not a good coffee bean. But yeah, once they've removed the skin, then they would sun dry them, and yeah, I think it takes between 7 to 10 days in the sun, and then the next process will be the roasting. Now, if you are thinking, why would you go to all this effort to make a cup of coffee, which is a really good question, but the reason I do it is because I've done this before. I did it as an experiment, and the end result was a cup of coffee that was just incredible. Like the best flavored coffee I've ever tasted in my life. And I'm not being biased because this came from my own plant, but it was just the smoothest, most delicious cup of coffee. And I thought, yeah, it takes a long time, but you know, this is more of a hobby, and it's fun. It's interesting to see the result of, you know, months of growing coffee and then going through the process yourself to get what is really the best cup of coffee you could possibly imagine. So yeah, I'm going to show you the end result, obviously, in a couple more steps, and I'll let you know how good the flavor turns out to be this time around. Okay, and we're finally at the end, and as you can see, the end result here, I have 1 little cup of the green coffee beans, which need to be roasted before they get that nice dark color that you know coffee beans to be. And here I have the outer shells, which I'm going to use as a compost for my garden. And yeah, next step will be to soak these beans for 2 to 3 days, and then we'll be on to the next step. So I'll see you in the next couple of days. Okay, here we are back in present day, and I'm with my tiny little quantity of green coffee beans, which are still slimy. I'm actually skipping a couple of steps from what I just showed you in the previous video. These ones I've just collected from my plant today. I'm not going to do the fermentation because I just want to show you the rest of the process for making coffee. These ones are about to go into the oven, and in about 20 to 30 minutes from now, they'll be dark roasted, and then I'll be able to grind them and make them into a cup of coffee. So it should be amazing. Let's go. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that there is another step in the process. I've just put these into the oven for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, medium-high heat. And as you can see, they're slightly toasted, but they're not fully cooked. So what I'm going to do here is actually an extra step where I am going to remove a little outer casing on the coffee bean, and as you can see, it's now separated. There's the outer casing of the coffee bean. Now, once I've removed that from all of these coffee beans, they're going to go back into the oven for another 25 to 30 minutes until they're a dark brown color, and then that's it. They'll be ready for grinding and then to be made into coffee. Nearly there. Here's my final product, which is maybe a handful of coffee beans, maybe just enough for like 1 or 2 cups of coffee. But anyway, it's just to show you the process. It's not to create a big quantity, but yeah, this is going to be delicious. They're roasted quite dark because I like a strong coffee. So I think this is going to be really, really amazing. I'll show you the next step, which will be grinding the coffee, and then I'll be tasting it. It's going to be so delicious. It is now the next morning and we're up to the final step, the step that I've been waiting for. We're going to put the coffee into this little pot, which is very classic in Colombia. I think almost every household has one. It's like a special container that is used for making hot chocolate and for coffee. I have water gently simmering inside it. I'm going to lower the heat. Now, because I like my coffee really strong, I'm actually going to put all of it straight in. I'm just going to boil it for a few minutes, simmer it for a few minutes, because I really love a strong coffee with a bit of kick to it. So we're nearly there. Here we are, finally at the end of the coffee making experience, or journey, or mission, whatever you want to call it. It took a long time, but we're there, and I've been waiting for this moment for 12 months. I'm not kidding, because I'm kind of a caffeine addict, and I love good coffee, and I know from past experience that my coffee plant grows amazing coffee. So here we are. Before we do the tasting, one more thing, please hit that subscribe button, please hit like, subscribe, comment. All of those little gestures really help a small channel like mine to grow, and for YouTube to show my videos to a bigger audience. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's taste this coffee. Okay, now I'm actually going to use this, which is a filter from an electric coffee machine. It doesn't actually come with this coffee pot, or I think it's got a chocolatera, which is like a hot chocolate making pot or for coffee. But I'm just going to use the filter, and we're going to pour the coffee into my cup. Here we are, 1 cup of amazing, delicious, homegrown coffee, and I'm very excited. Let's taste it. Now, I haven't actually added anything to this, no sugar, no milk, because I just want to get the pure taste of the coffee. And let's see. That's amazing. That's incredible. It is so good. I wish I could share that with you. I wish you could taste it and see how incredible that is. It is such a smooth coffee. As you probably know, when you buy different brands of coffee, or if you're buying instant coffee especially, you get a lot of that bitter coffee aftertaste. This kind of coffee is not bitter at all. It doesn't have that strong bitter aftertaste afterwards. It's actually silky smooth from start to finish. It's incredible. Amazing. Oh, I'm so happy. 12-month wait, finally here. Guys, thank you so very much for watching all the way to the end. I'm so happy and so lucky to be living in a country like Colombia, where I can, which is not only a beautiful country, but I can have my own coffee plant. I'm so happy. This has been a really cool video. It's been fun to make, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Please hit subscribe, and thank you again. We'll see you again very soon in the next video. New videos every week. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my channel so that I can produce videos faster, you can do so using the buymeacoffee.com link in the description box below. And of course, subscribing and liking my videos also helps. I put a lot of time and effort into making these videos, and I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you very much, and see you again next week in the next video.